It's Michael Owen.
Good morning, Michael. Reboot My Life, My Time, out now in Harburg. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, you've just been through the mill on TalkSport with Alan Brazil, whose co-host this morning is Sam Allardyce. Now, tell us why that got a bit sticky for a moment or two.
Well, there was a little piece in my book whereby, I wasn't too complimentary to Big Sam, I think.
About what? Concerning what?
To be honest, I was going through a period in my career where, injuries were starting to catch up with me and I wasn't the player I was, towards the end of my career. And unfortunately, he was the manager at the time and, it wasn't great, let's put it that way. I wasn't playing too much and he was frustrated that I wasn't playing and I had a little bit of a pop at his training sessions and things like that.
How might you have made them better had you been inside his head? What did you want from a training session that maybe wasn't there?
Sam was very much a case of how the team are going to function and putting 11 men out on a pitch. Like we normally have enjoyable five-a-sides and shooting practices and things that are actual fun. But Sam was big for just playing the same 11 and putting them on a big pitch and saying, right, stop, you go here. When the ball's here, you go there and I'll go there and all the rest of it. So it's quite prescriptive and boring for a centre-forward like me, whereas I'm a bit more wanting things to happen.
So horses for courses. Your first big game, the biggest game of your teenage life. Tell us about that, because I remember watching it.
Well, I'd had a season at Liverpool in the first team and did particularly well. I was a player that came through early and burst on the scene and did all my best work probably in the first 6 or 7 years of my career, and then it was a bit of a hang-on for dear life for the second half of my career as my body was falling apart. But the big one that announced me to the world was probably at the end of that first season, was against Argentina in the World Cup in 1998. And as an 18-year-old, managed to muscle my way into the team. Teddy Sheringham and Alan Shearer were the first two, or they were the two strikers. I came on against Romania, scored a goal, kept my place in the team, and then, of course, the Argentina game was the big one where most people will remember me.
You dribbled round the entire Argentina team and scored a goal. It was, I have to say, whenever I read a sporting biography, I always start, I was going, I'm going to flick to, I flicked to that goal and then I read the whole thing. And by the way, I told you as you came in, I loved the book.
Thank you.
But you seem to love that goal less than, say, Chris and I did.
Well, because I think it was normal. It sounds stupid, but that's what I did when I was a kid. I didn't feel, and I look back now in my career and think, wow, even at 27, and that was the beauty of it, because I probably couldn't have scored it for the second half of my career. I didn't have that fearless, mindset.
Well, fearlessness is different, isn't it? Because there's bravery. Now, bravery is contemplate. So if you contemplate something, you have to spend time contemplating it. And whether that's a year or half a second, it takes away from the moment. But if you're fearless, you're in the moment. And sometimes if you're fearless and everybody else is a bit fearful, you're ahead of time. And you were ahead of time in that particular move.
You think that everyone's scared of you, or you just go out and do it. I mean, if you could bottle that fearlessness.
It's the same in music, when kids write music, when teenage groups write music, in the early 20s, it just flows out of them. It is fearless. Because it's, life hasn't tainted you, mistakes haven't tainted you, over-analysis hasn't tainted you. You just go out there, you're like a flower. Flowers aren't told how to flower, they just do.
That's exactly how I felt. It's an amazing feeling, and the problem is you just think about it too much. The older you get, the more things come into your brain, and you think more. It's better just to do it off the cuff. I used to turn up at Anfield before a Liverpool game at 17, and someone would pass me the ball in the warm-up, and the crowd's filling up. There's 20,000, 30,000 watching now, and the ball had hit my knee and bounced off, and I think most people would think, oh no, I'm not playing well today. I would think, that's my bad touch out the way. Now I'm going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
If I killed the ball dead, then I'd think, I'm on it today. I'm going to be brilliant. No matter what you threw at me.
It was always good.
And if you missed the sitter?
Well, nobody else would have got in that position.
There you go.
Because no one was fast enough or skillful enough.
This is great.
It's almost delusional. But if you're not delusional, then you cannot believe, because you have to believe you're better than you are. If you just think you're the norm. So that all sort of
really
snowballs, doesn't it? And of course it comes to a grinding halt at some point in your life when you realise, when you're actually a little bit cleverer and a bit more cute. But while it was rolling, that's exactly how I felt.
The Chris Evans Breakfast Show with Sky.